Hello, can you hear me? I have a bit of a cold, sorry, and I also haven't uploaded a video for a while. The very predictable burnout happened. I have been practicing, I have been composing, but I couldn't face doing any more kind of practice diaries for one reason and another until now. So, my plan for a collaboration in the new year, which I'm sure will kind of materialize on this channel and maybe another channel, is to learn this Chopin Nocturne that I've always wanted to learn. And I've never played it before. Seriously, I have sight read it maybe once or twice. But this is, for the most part, going to be a totally new piece for me. I think probably one of the most beautiful Chopin Nocturnes. It's opus 27, number 2. And if you don't know it, you should probably go and have a listen, because it is just amazingly intricate, improvisatory right-hand stuff over quite slow-moving chords in the left hand. It's just very beautiful in many ways. So, I think I'll probably be interrupted before this video can get too long, which is probably quite good. So I'm going to just read through it, and maybe we'll talk about things as we go. And then, if I've got time, I'll start off with a metronome tempo that feels good. It gets quite fiddly later, so although the start will sound very simple, it certainly won't be simple in a page or so. The modulations are also very interesting and take you in unexpected directions with, unfortunately, quite a lot of sharps and flats, mostly flats and double flats. Anyway, it's in D flat major, and we get this kind of ostinato pattern to start with. I'm going to try and take it very easy, very slow. First awkward ornament. Let me just plot this out. So the first thing is, what is this chord? If we get it's what in kind of Debussy would be called a half diminished. Sorry, I hope you don't mind me stopping and starting, but I find this is useful for me to understand what's going on. So, we're in this key. Normally, if you go to this chord, it'll sound like this. Very bright and kind of warm. And that's chord number 4, going back to 1. What we get in this piece is this kind of slightly more interesting, which is the same chord, but minor there. Very Chopin-y. And adding this note too. So rearrange the notes and you get what's on the page. And then just to where you expect the dominant. Nice suspension there. So that's the first theme, and then we go to the minor, the relative minor. More remote minor. If I explain, it's going to take a while. I'll explain. It's the minor on the supertonic, but we go to the dominant before that first. So in broad terms, we've got this, and then we have our bits where we're kind of around here. That's kind of the first section of bridge. Then we go to the minor that we talked about. The dominant of that minor. Backwards and forwards a few times, very simple. And then we get this note, which takes us to here. And then backwards and forwards there a few times. And that's where we got to. So if I go from bar 10, from the first bit where we go into the minor with the thirds in the right hand. Oops. Here we go, the modulation there. And there we are, arriving in the minor. So much ornamentation through that whole section. Now here comes an interesting bit, so. Now that, I have no idea what that is, so let's have a look. We get this one. So that's just that minor chord we were talking about, and then it goes to here. Then very awkwardly, this. Very strange. The E flat and the D natural at exactly the same time. There. And I think it's really a passing note. There's no way to justify that as a chord. With the D flat still in the left hand as well. That's the E flat, the D flat, and the D natural. All within a very, very short span. With the D flat really being reinforced around that, so it sounds like this. And the only way that makes sense is if you continue to the next note, where it relaxes. So that's a bit of chromatic tension building in the right hand. Dun, dun. Oops. Awkwardly written with double flats, but this is in reality. What is this again then? It's there's some juicy harmony in this piece for sure. We'll move for now. Down to the G flat. Still B double flat. He has to work very hard. Yeah, he goes fairly remote. So D flat major. We get a hint of A major here. That's a Schubert-y kind of pivot note thing going on. We have to work pretty hard to get back to our home key after that. Through a lot of letting it saturate. So it's kind of just these chords bleeding in with a very slow right hand. back to our original theme. So that's a good place to work on to start with, I think. I find one note there very strange. That D flat for me is very weird. I'm going to actually check that against a different edition. I'm sure it is that, but feels weird to me still. Yeah, it's the same. So, I guess it's... What would happen if... I mean, just for sake of interest, if we turn that into an E flat... I mean, for me that sounds more natural, but obviously we can't play it like that because it's not written. Oh, it's just to give us the hint, you know, of this chord. Because then you get a little bit more of the chord progression. You get this. As opposed to just purely this. So the D flat is hinting at just one more chord in that cadence, you know. Those two notes form in the left hand with the B flat. The subdominant, which is then nicely leading to the... But I think then it's very important to pedal that note, even though you can't really trust Chopin's pedal markings too much. There. That makes sense, right? Okay, so before we move on to the more interesting second section where we've now heard most of the ideas in the piece. You won't hear many new ideas now. You'll hear decorations on top of those ideas, some of which are very elaborate. The conforza diddle bit, which is quite tricky later that I don't want to talk about too much now. There's also this really awkward broken chord section in bar 32. If you want to have a look there, that's kind of slightly awkward. And obviously it looks intimidating because of the amount of accidentals on the page. But that's why it's vitally important with this kind of music, to really scout out what the harmony is in advance as best you can, because then you have fewer surprises. So when it looks scary, try and get back to what the chords are, you know, on the keyboard and what it sounds like, and you've got something then to latch onto. Okay, so a couple of interesting moments that we brushed past. In bar 10, 11, 12, bar 13, halfway through, we get an A flat and an A natural at the same time, which is a kind of an ancient music technique. It's but often used in, well, all sorts of music, but it kind of goes back to really old choir music. He uses that in the first ballad too, and somehow it works. You put this chord underneath. Shouldn't work, but it does. So now we need to find a very slow metronome marking to get started with. Change to 1. The left hand is very awkward here, lots of stretches. 2, 3, 1, something from 5, 5. I saw that turn was bad before as well. Okay, so the fingering is important. The left hand has just awkward fingering through this. 5, 5. You can do 4 if you like, but as this speeds up, that's going to get more and more tense. This turn. Dum, dum, 1. Sorry, my family's just come in, so I might have to go in a second. So this turn here. Hi. Just
put this in the garage.
Yes, I'll just be 5 minutes. Yeah, awkward here, really. Don't use your thumb. I think I'm just trying to use my thumb for no good reason there. Save it for there, yeah. I probably use the pedal too much when I'm learning Chopin. Because you get all these kind of interesting staccatos, so it's very hard to do, and I think it's... I'm a bit over-reliant on the pedal, probably. Let's go back to the metronome here. Oh, I did the weird fingering again. Let's do that again. That's right, actually. No way. Right, okay. This is where the fingering gets very fiddly, so let's just go through the right hand. I should be able to do this if I want to torture myself with no pedal, totally legato, before I try and do anything else with it. Yeah. It works so well, this fingering, but it's so unnatural. Weird. Okay. For now, we'll go slow enough. Yes, I'm using the pedals across. 3-1. That's very important, clearly. All right. Yeah, so. beating there and the fingering. Yeah, so this section is deceptively awkward. And I think that's the first thing I'm going to have to do. Fingering on the right hand through that section. And also the left hand, because the left hand patterns are not always straightforward. There's a lot of detail going on in both. And I think for now, that'll just be a nice short intro to this piece, opus 27, number 2. And I think based on how this one went, it could be quite a big project, deceptively, because it's like a miniature, you know, it feels quite short and sweet. For me, this is kind of Chopin at its most intricate and technical, and so when I say technical, I mean not obviously like the big stuff, but just the little ornamentations. Being able to have mastery over those positions is something I just don't have yet, and so, you know, where all of this stuff is involved. Those fingering changes there, I need to work very hard. So it's kind of alright with just the right hand. When the left hand goes in, it becomes more awkward. So a bit of time invested there is probably not going to be a bad idea. Okay, let's leave it there. Good to be back. See you soon.